Well, hey, everybody, it's Rob Benedict.
And Richard Spate. And you know what? You love us. Why do I know this? Because you're listening to us right now. Imagine the thrill of not just hearing our voices, but seeing us in 3D, live and in person on the stage together. Rob, is this even possible?
It is possible. And not only that, we play music. Richard is in a band called Dick Jr. and the Volunteers.
Rob Benedict has a solo album and has another band called The Station Breaks.
That's right, and The Station Breaks are playing. I'm playing my solo music. Richard is playing with Dick Jr. and the Volunteers, a full set, and we're also playing with our friends Billy Moran and Jason Manns, and they're playing their solo music.
Wouldn't it be cool if this took place in a really cool city known for music? I don't know, I'll make up a city. Nashville?
That's where it's happening, Richard. Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, but it's not happening in like a A-level legendary establishment like Exit Inn.
It's happening at the Exit Inn, the legendary Exit Inn, and it's happening December 5th of this year. That's right.
Oh my gosh, that's the Thursday right before the Supernaturel convention kicks off in Nashville, Tennessee. So you're saying that if you're planning to go to Nashville for the convention, you add a day, fly in Thursday, and boom, you kick off the weekend with a rock and roll show?
That's exactly right, but people are saying, I can hear people are saying, how do I get tickets?
Well, that's easy. You go to exitin.com. That's EXITIN.com. And guess what? Because Rob's nice and I'm kind of nice, we're going to give you a discount. You enter Rob and Rich at checkout. That's ROBANDRICH. And you're going to get a little money off your ticket price.
Nice. All right, you got the details. You got the date.
Go get your ticket and we'll see you there.
Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
that's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Cover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Kroger Delivery has one mission: to deliver the freshest food right to your door. That's why our drivers are pros. Our trucks are refrigerated. And when it comes to low prices, we always deliver. With $20 off your first order of $75 or more, there's no better time to get in on the action. Mission accomplished. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
In 2005, two brothers hit the road to fight monsters. That road has led them to fighting demons, angels, and saving the world.
It's a journey that is taking them to heaven, hell, and back. But they aren't done.
Join our journey as we go episode by episode, following the adventures of Sam and Dean Winchester. We break each episode down with the writers, producers, directors, crew, and actors to bring you the behind-the-scenes stories of how this legendary TV series was made. That guy right there, that's Rob Benedict. He played God and Chuck Shirley.
Hey, and that guy there, that's Richard Spate Jr. He played Gabriel, Loki, and the Trickster. And P.S., he directed a bunch of episodes, too.
Now, while we are insiders, we're also outsiders, because we're not experts. This is our first time watching the entire series, all 327 episodes.
Rich and I have met many of the fans at conventions around the world, and we are deepening our understanding of why you all love this series so much. Because it's really good.
Yeah, it is. Now, listen. There will be spoilers, so consider yourself warned.
And thank you for joining us on this trip we call Supernatural Then and Now. Hey everybody, this is Rob Benedict.
And this, well, I go by the name Richard Spate Jr.
And we're talking about Season 6, Episode 10, Caged Heat.
Which is also what people call Rob's underwear drawer.
You already made it gross. You're just getting started and it's gross.
Hey, listen, I realized recently that if you're going to run for president, you got to talk about other dudes' junk.
Ah.
Because that's the new move.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did not.
Yeah, you start with Arnold Palmer, you get to go to Rob Benedict, like you just start going for the Johnsons. Why do you think the Speaker of the House is Mike Johnson? You think it's his real last name? I don't think so.
All right. Look at you, always getting political. What do you say? Let's just dive right into 610.
Okay, let's summarize it. Robert, have at it.
In a secret monster prison, Crowley interviews an alpha shapeshifter.
If you're going to be in a secret prison, You want it to be a monster prison. Like a secret monster prison is the high watermark of secret prisons.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But Alpha shapeshifter in Crowley's form, so it's Crowley interviewing Crowley, but one of them's not Crowley, he's a shapeshifter. Crowley is trying to get answers on the location of Purgatory. Unsatisfied with the progress, he cuts the monster's head off.
Where's Purgatory? Tell me now.
Cuts his head off. So, meanwhile, Sam and Dean are handing over their latest capture, a Rougarou, to some of Crowley's demon henchmen. And afterwards, the boys head back to their dilapidated house. Sam...
I thought it was interesting that you found out that they had a language barrier because apparently one of those demons didn't speak whiny bitch.
Oh, yeah. Did you write that down? Or you had that in there?
No.
Wow.
I just thought it was a funny line.
That guy was funny. He had a lot of good lines. And he really didn't want them in. He didn't want them in. He didn't want to deal with them. Didn't like them. Not a fan.
I feel like there's backstory there we do not know. Somebody got their feelings hurt at some point.
Yeah, at some point. So afterwards, the boys head back to their dilapidated house. Sam confesses he is sick of monster hunting for Crowley. Suddenly, they get captured by Meg. Meg is back. She wants to know Crowley's location so she can kill him with a demon-killing knife. She's loyal to Lucifer, while Crowley wants to be the uncontested king of hell.
She's loyal to Lucifer, but crippled by Crowley.
Doesn't the demon-killing knife have a name?
Yeah, Gerald.
Okay. They all agree to team up and try and find him. Sam wants to find out how to get his soul back. He knows he and Dean will need some help in handling Meg and the other demons, so Sam summons Castiel by tricking the angel into thinking he has found the Ark of the Covenant. I thought that was kind of funny.
When you read the sentence, Sam wants to find out how to get his soul back, don't you hear the theme song of some bad 80s movie with Rob Lowe as the professor who gets it? You know, some kind of like, you need your soul back. It's like, how did I lose my soul?
Sure. But really funny Castiel stuff in this episode. A lot of funny...
Yeah, you know, you and I always talk about things we didn't know. This is where all that pizza guy references come from.
This is where the porn pizza reference comes from. That's right. I didn't know about the Ark of the Covenant one, but I thought that was kind of funny. They ask Samuel for help, but he doesn't want to help them. Crowley promised him a resurrected Mary. So we kind of find out that Samuel, has his own... we're starting to find out more about why Samuel's no good. Later, he visits the boy's house.
What a pill, man. What a pill of a grandpa. I mean, I get it. You're not going to put $5 in a birthday card and hand it to me every year. You're not that guy. But then there's a whole nother level of not that guy. And he is not that guy.
And from his point of view, he's like, I don't even know you, which is, it's cold, but, It's
cold because he's the adult in the room. It wasn't like he's an abandoned child.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, grandpa, you could have shown up earlier.
I don't even know you.
Like, I've been abandoned by my dad. My mom died on fire on the ceiling.
I know, definitely.
And you blaze in kind of blaming me for not being a better communicator.
I know that a kid who's lost his parent trumps a person who's looking for his daughter, I think.
Yeah, man. Samuel's a little mixed up in his parenting. I'm going to talk to Mitch about this. I'm worried about Mitch.
You should be. Later, he visits the boy's house, interrupting Castiel watching pornography. That was funny. Very funny bit with Misha and the porno. Their grandfather has come around and wants to help. He tells them the location of Crowley's monster prison. As they prepare to leave, Castiel warns Dean that Sam's soul might be too damaged. It might not be a good idea to put it back in his brother. Sam overhears the conversation. Once in the prison, the group is attacked by hellhounds.
And that's a really cool sequence, by the way.
Those invisible hellhounds that we never see. Meg stays back to fight them off. Samuel uses a sigil to banish Castiel. It's a trap. Dean gets tossed into a creepy kitchen to be eaten by ghouls. Sam is put in a cell, but quickly escapes and rescues Dean. Meg has been captured too and is being tortured by Demon Christian. But the other brothers are able to rescue her, killing Demon Christian in the process. So is that it for Christian?
I think so. I don't know. Did you find it ironic that Meg, while being tortured, was wearing your leather strap ensemble?
Oh my God, that was too much. Why? Why did they have to do that? I mean, first of all, she's so cute.
I don't know. I guess it looks good on you. Why wouldn't it look good on TV?
She's cute and she looks great, but why did we need to have her in a bikini for the torture? I thought that was like...
Didn't you feel like that was very dated?
It was very dated. Yeah.
Yeah, that was... It felt very much like a 1980s horror movie. It's like a slasher flick.
Yeah, or 1990s WB show, it's like she's tortured and she just happens to be in her bikini.
They happen to have a table that happens to have leather straps that happen to cover your genitalia if you happen to be 5'2".
Right. Well, anyway, the foursome is back together. And by foursome, we need Sam, Dean, Castiel, and Meg, I guess.
And I will also say that you and I, we've known Rachel so long that it's like, oh man,
it's like your sister.
That's my good friend.
Yeah,
man.
it's like your sister. You're like, hey guys.
Not that she's not a total smoke show because she is, but it's like, it's Rachel.
Yeah, no, I think we're being very clear. But moving on, the foursome is back together and they lure Crowley to a devil's trap. Crowley confesses.
Who's the foursome?
Okay, we just went over this. It's Rachel, it's Meg, Castiel, Sam, and Dean. Crowley confesses that he can't get Sam's soul back and that the soul is likely broken anyway.
It's likely broken anyway.
Meg is about to kill Crowley with the demon-killing knife. There's a name for that.
Gerald.
Oh, Gerald, right, gotcha. However, Crowley is able to turn things around and break free from the devil's trap. Castiel arrives with a bag of bones, Crowley's. He burns the bag, killing Crowley, shocker, and Meg escapes with all her clothes back on. Outside, Dean thanks Castiel for his help. Castiel promises that they will find another way to get Sam's soul back. Sam is hesitant. He even wants it back. And that's the end.
And then Sam walks away inexplicably. Like, where the hell are you going?
I don't know where he's going.
We're just walking away from the car? I'm going to pick you up in 30 feet from here. I guarantee you.
So there's a moment where Sam bites into his own arm.
Yeah, talk about maybe just a tiny leap from reality that he's able to draw enough blood from himself to do a sigil on the ceiling.
And is he that tall? Yes, he's tall, but that's you got to get way up there.
Dude, that was a big leap. That he was able, I mean, I thought it was cool the way he smiled and he had blood on his teeth, but he was able to bleed out enough and still be standing. I mean, that is a ton of blood. To be like 2-finger painting a sigil on a ceiling.
I guess without a soul, maybe I don't know. I thought for a second, I was like, oh, and he's a vampire? Because he went to town on his arm. He did a whole
yeah. Yes,
he did.
That was a leap for me, a big leap.
Well, I was like, does this mean something else? Does it mean?
I don't think so. I think it just means
So he's not a vampire?
I think it's just a story point.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, there's a lot to unpack here, really. I mean, there's so much going on in this episode. I love the all-star lineup cast. You got Pileggi, you've got
Korn Nemec,
you've got our friend Rachel Miner, you've got, it's always fun for me when an episode has Misha in it.
Certainly got Jared Padalecki making a swing by. And
you know who else is in this one that I thought was really great is Jensen Ackles is in this episode.
And I did not see that coming.
And, of course, Mark A. Shepard. Now, rumor on the streets is that you weren't fond of the episode. Tell me.
It's funny as we're going through it. So I started this podcast before Steve hit record and saying I didn't love it. Like I wasn't crazy for it. Interestingly, as we've gone through it, I'm like, oh yeah, that beat was cool. I think maybe what bugged me was the principle of the whole thing.
The what?
There's a couple of things that bumped for me. Okay, well, first of all, let me just go ahead and do this. Robin Rich ratings. Now, here's the thing. You just talking about the blood on the ceiling. It's a big leap, man. Just a story point. I felt like it was like, okay, he'd be passed out on the ground.
I know, but it's supernatural.
I get it, but one of the things I like about the show is they do hold the boys accountable to a certain reality, typically.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they are able to, get out of rope ties a lot and stuff, and it is TV.
Uh-huh.
But nonetheless, they do tend to follow a certain amount of logic.
Uh-huh.
And that one, I don't know, that seemed illogical to me. The leather strap table, was like a what? Come on.
That I had issue with. Just to me, that was just, again, there are some elements to the show, the earlier episodes that just feels very dated, and that was one of them where I was like,
that felt dated.
And on a show too, if it's just on a show that has very few women, great parts for women. I just felt I don't know. I didn't.
Well, I mean, it is dated. That's a 20-year-old scene, right? I mean, or 18 years or however long it's been. You're right. That doesn't hold up. I also thought the whole bit with Samuel being a turncoat and also being kind of an asshole, was kind of brutal. And I'm like, I just had a hard time.
But he's been rescued from the dead. He's not he's not even supposed to be here. He's it's not Thanksgiving. You know what I mean?
No, I know. It's just,
all right.
I don't know. And I felt like the drum beat of Sam Soul, Sam Soul, Sam Soul, Sam Soul, let's get Sam Soul, Sam Soul was just pounded throughout the whole episode. And at the end, he's like, I don't want it, and walks away. I don't know. I just thought it was there are elements that were, and even the walking away at the end just seemed melodramatic in a CW way that usually doesn't permeate the Supernatural universe.
That didn't bump for me, but I didn't really process it. I was just like, all right, okay.
It wasn't that like the whole time I was like, oh, this is awful. It was just little things that maybe go, because obviously Rachel Miner's always great. The Hellhound sequence was great. The slashing, the way she like did all that, the camera work is super cool, and the way Rachel acted with nothing and it turned into this really cool violent sequence is really cool. She's a very dynamic character. The sort of cat and mouse she has with Dean is awesome. I thought as we already mentioned, kind of the guest starred demons were really good. And of course, Mitch Pileggi's a great actor. And Shepard's always great. The ingredients were all there. I just felt like it was a step shy of being as cohesive as some episodes can be.
All right. Well, for my part, it's probably my favorite episode so far this season. I love that we just got into the storytelling of what's going on. I like that some of the questions were answered and it wasn't about Monster of the Week. We really just got into the characters. I feel like we have more of Rachel Miner than we've gotten before, maybe, or something, but I was just reminded what a delightful actress she is, and she's so good. I had the same issues you had with it, but I forgave them because I was really captivated by what was happening with the characters. And, another thing that bumped for me is that was like, if that's the end of Korn Nemec, that was unceremonious ending for him. And I mean, like, we know it's not for Mark.
But might not be. I mean, we actually don't know.
Imagine if you're watching it, you're like, oh, wow, that guy's dead.
I did think about that because in the grand scheme of creating shows, it absolutely could have been.
Yeah. They must bring Korn back at some point. Obviously, they do, Mark. I really liked it. I have to say, like, I'm watching it going like, okay, I feel like it felt more like a Supernatural episode than any of the other episodes we've watched. Besides the fact that, Sam doesn't have a soul. But I have to say, I haven't really said this yet, but I kind of like Soulless Sam. Soulless Sam is a badass, man. He kicks ass. He's a great hunter. And, he's got no real emotions going on. And he's kind of like, he's out Deaning Dean. So there, I said it.
Out Deaning Dean.
He is. That's why, even Bobby was like, you're the best hunter I know, Sam. But, they wouldn't say that before. But now Soulless, he's kind of a sociopath. Anyway, I liked it. So I'm going to give it.
Here goes Rob with his beard rating on episode 610, Caged Heat. Robert?
Okay, I'm going to give it a Kenny Loggins, 70s Kenny Loggins, but like with a soft focus. They do that in the 70s as kind of the soft focus.
Yeah, sort of the Angela Lansbury lens.
Right. So it's my way of going, it's a soft Loggins. It's not like a hardcore Loggins. I freaking loved it. It doesn't get better than this, but it's a soft Loggins. My best this year, still just kind of a soft focus Loggins.
Soft Loggins, okay.
Soft Loggins.
Great name for a band. Just saying, if you're out there putting together an ensemble, the Soft Loggins.
Rob Benedict and the Soft Loggins.
Jimmy Lamp and the Soft Loggins.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Jimmy Password and the Soft Loggins. Like login. Bobby Sticks and the Soft Loggins.
Frank Flaccid and the Soft Loggins. I would go with, oh, man.
Hated the episode. Not a fan of the episode. Richard Speight.
I'm gonna give it the Rob Benedict mustache.
Okay.
Which means it's solid. I compliment it a lot, like the elements. I'm like, but it's not a beard. It's simply not a beard. It looks good as it is. Like I said before about my description of this episode, there's elements that I really liked. I just didn't think, there was too many things that kind of jumped the shark for me and didn't feel cohesive. So at the end of the day, it's not a beard. It's a darn fine mustache. And hell, I'll give it a captain's hat. I mean, we'll go mustache captain's hat.
In what world is this? It's just a baseball. So you're basically saying my mustache has jumped the shark. Great. All right. Well.
I thought the shark, captain's hat, and mustache theme all kind of swirled together.
It's not a captain's hat. It's a baseball hat. It kind of has a flat. You're just a jerk face. All right. Well, there you go, kids. And now it's time. I'm very much looking forward to this. We're going to speak to Rachel Miner.
One of our good friends.
Rachel appeared in 10 episodes of Supernatural as the demon Meg. She has so many credits. She's worked so much. Her credits include Chicago Fire, Sons of Anarchy, Criminal Minds, and Californication.
When you and I were thinking about getting into acting, she was working,
Yeah. Early 90s, she was at it. She started acting professionally when she was 9 years old and was soon cast in Guiding Light in a role that lasted 5 years and earned her an Emmy nomination. And now here's our conversation with Rachel Miner. Rachel Miner, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm so excited to see you and be here.
Yeah, you too.
I gotta say, as a fan of yours, as a human being, one of the joys has been, as we watch this series, is seeing our friends pop up in their roles. Haven't necessarily examined closely. I've directed you. I've gotten to work with you before, but I haven't, I wasn't around for the beginning of your journey on the show. So it's been really, really, really fun watching you in that role. And you crush it, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is a great episode for you. And I feel the same. Like, you're just so good. And it's like a masterclass. I really like watching all your stuff, that you're doing. And it's great. You're just
amazing. Well, I'm the biggest fan of both of yours. So,
so
it's really, really an honor to hear. But also, I honestly think I just got the best writing.
Yeah.
Like, I always got the best lines. So all I had to do was read the words.
You got served up some good stuff. I was saying that about this review, like the cat and mouse storyline with you and Dean, that kind of subtext. It's just great.
So fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
Oh, it's so great. And I was also, I did not realize that this was the birthplace, this episode, of the all Pizza Man stuff that, which people talk about at conventions all the time.
Yes, it is the most popular. I think the most popular question is, what was it like to kiss Misha?
I'm sure. I'm sure. All right, so let's start at the beginning. What was your Supernatural casting story?
I mean, it was pretty straightforward. I auditioned for Eric Kripke. The first episode was one where I kissed Dean.
Aha.
You lucky lady.
Yes, I made the rounds. But it was such a fun episode. I think Robbie Thompson wrote that one. And it was just filled with great dialogue. And I just remember the first time I read Meg, she made sense to me. I feel like the way she speaks is so lyrical. And I like something clicked in where, to me, it's Lauren Bacall or, one of the great, like, old
sexy
bantery actresses. And so, like, her rhythms just made sense to me.
Yeah.
And so somehow I got it. So that was it.
It's amazing.
Were you based in New York at the time or Los Angeles?
Los Angeles.
Okay. So you saw those guys in the real world in 3D.
Yeah.
Did you remember, like, in that experience, I'm always interested how actors walk away from the room. Did you feel like when you left the room, oh, that's mine, I got this? Or
I just felt like I enjoyed myself. That was where I tended to put my focus. Because I can't guess. I've called my agent when it was something I booked and been like, oh my God, I did so horrible. Please call casting and apologize. I never get it right in terms of my interpretation.
Right.
So I stopped bothering. So now I'm just more focused on, like, for years I've been focused on, like, just enjoy yourself.
Right.
In the room, like, if you can enjoy that moment, it's your one chance to play the character for sure.
Yeah.
And I really I did. I just enjoyed Meg. So I just remember it being fun and laughing. And I think Eric and I laughed a bit. It was just like, I loved getting to say those words.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now listen, Meg is like a great character who's delightful on screen, but we're friends here. She's pretty dark. So your character
kills a few people. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I say at your character's hands, we lose Ellen and Joe.
Yeah.
Like you essentially are responsible for them dying.
Yeah, I was a baddie.
Do you get a lot of grief for that at conventions? Do people are like, hey, you kissed Misha, but
I think that always forgiven if you kiss Misha.
Yeah, that's a good note. Yeah.
That's a good note for life, everybody.
Exactly. No, I don't know why I would think that I would have, but the fans have been amazing. And they just, I think they like that turn with her.
Well, you're one of those characters that you're not just despicable. Like, there's some good in you. There's some, there's a part of, even the fact that you're maybe it's fake attraction, but that your attraction with the boys, your sexiness with the boys, playfulness, Rowena's that way. Shepard is that way. Even Lucifer, to a point, is that way. They don't I find that people really are mad at me because by the end of the show, I didn't have any sort of good qualities, but you're a little bit of both. So it's fun to love, hate you.
Yeah.
They also see their frailty. Like in this one, Sam calls you out like, oh, your hands are tied here. You're not as threatening as you'd make yourself out to be.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that was so fun with the Cass Meg dynamic was that they're both so bad at humaning. Like they're both don't really get the human experience, and they're just kind of off, and they're kind of studying people and trying to get it right,
That's cool.
in their own way. And also I think what was fun with Meg is she was so uncomfortable with her own attraction. She really didn't get it. It didn't make sense to her whatever she was feeling, because she was feeling things. And I don't think she knew how to compute that. And so I think that was really fun. And to be honest, like a lot of the discussions I've had with fandom were, I think, those of us, I know I'm probably somewhere on the spectrum. And for any of us who are like slightly used to being a little outside and observing, and like, I don't totally get this human thing, but like, why are they doing this? These characters kind of resonated. Does that make sense?
That's a great way. I've never heard it put that way. That's a great way to put it.
We'll be right back.
For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. And when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Blinds.com is kicking off the savings early with Black Friday mega deals all month long. A Blinds.com design expert can help you make the perfect selection on your schedule. We can even handle everything from measure to your whole home installed for just one low cost. With over 25 million windows covered, Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Get up to 45% off site-wide, plus premium doorbusters and a free professional measure. Now at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Thanks for listening. Now, back to the episode. This is an acting question, and it's not meant to be fluffy. I'm just curious, if you go in, nobody asked me to kiss a lot of like people. They're like, yeah, why don't we hire Rich to not kiss people? So when you're going in, you're kissing first Jensen and then Misha. At this point, you know Misha pretty well. Like, you guys are buddies. I don't know if you knew Jensen really before that.
I actually had, because I had an ex who was on Dawson's Creek same time he was.
Okay.
So we spent some time in North Carolina.
Okay.
And so I'd met him then. So.
Okay. So for the professional journey of an actress who's brought in to do that kind of work, what's the process like in terms of, I know it's not the biggest deal in the world, but it's also a little awkward. You're going into, have a moment with somebody you're not in a relationship with, and it's not your best friend. So what's the process like for that?
For me, I think my recourse is to make it very technical. Like, it's more technical. I've had fight scenes that are probably more sexy to me in my head than actual like makeout scenes or love scenes or anything like that. Because I think what I do is, like, when I'm in character, like, the character might be fully enjoying, but the me part of it is really thinking, like, is the angle right? Like, that kiss was also highly technical because I had to pull out the angel blade just at the right time. And like, there was spin and all that stuff.
Right.
So I'm thinking about those things. Don't shadow him, whatever.
Right.
And that kind of gets me through feeling any awkwardness, because it's just a very technical thing. I hate to disappoint. I feel like that's highly disappointing.
No. I think that's what it is.
Well, that's what I mean. It's really it's the process of what really goes on. I mean, like the outside eye might be like, oh, I bet it's this, that, or the other, but we know that it's really not. There's a process to it because you're a character.
Yeah.
So you're still acting in these moments. You're acting through these arcs, regardless of what the action is.
Yeah, I think I have like a real moral line in my head where if someone's married, like I actually like have met both wives and all these things. So it was like, if someone is a friend and in a relationship and stuff, there's some part of me that's like, they're not going to be in any way in that category. So there's no part of me that's let's indulge that part.
Right.
It's the opposite. I'm so afraid of anything that might make anyone uncomfortable. I'll tell you though, I also had to learn to navigate as an actress for years. Like, there is the, hey, let's practice this, people. So I got good at like acknowledging ahead of time. If a guy was a little bit dubious, I'd be like, you are such a gentleman. I really appreciate it. You make me so comfortable. Thank you. And then they try to live up to that.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah. I mean, Rachel, you lived through Hollywood, both sides of Hollywood, and not that it's gone. I'm not naive enough to think that it's gone, but we were both a little uncomfortable for you in that scene that you look amazing when they have you all of a sudden in like a leather bikini and being tortured. You know what I mean?
That felt like it was 1989, and I felt like it was a Tom Hanks bachelor party movie. Like it was so weird.
I'm telling you, I read the script of this episode because there's that, and I say, you make my meat suit all dewy.
Yeah.
In another, there were so many things. I was like, this is CW? Like, I was so confused. So, yeah.
Let's talk about that scene. So,
so
you talked about the script. In the script, does it say she's barely covered? I mean, is that written out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I think it had been established. I think Jen Padalecki had done an episode.
Oh, really?
Where she had the same, like, whatever that contraption is.
Huh.
She had the same thing.
Okay.
So I think that had been pre-established.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm not sure how revealing the shots weren't hers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was pretty surprised.
How was the conversation about that? Obviously that, it's a show that you knew, and the set, the crew and the cast, and they obviously don't want you to feel weird, but it's, in spite of that, it's a revealing layout there and inhibiting because you're strapped down.
And the thing around your chin.
So what was the process with the whole thing?
There wasn't a whole lot, but and I know you both know this, the crew and everyone there are so nice.
Yeah.
It's really like a family.
Good.
And I felt so safe and so taken care of. This was not a show where I ever felt
right
funny in that way. There was a lot of shows. I've had a lot of experience with like negotiate to have underwear, and then you show up in the underwear see-through. You're like, no.
Oh my God.
There's a lot of times I felt awkward and I had to fight, but this was definitely not one of them. So, and just people are so respectful.
Okay, that's good.
Good.
Yeah, we were worried about. I was like, it's like my sister or something. I like felt. I wanted, honestly, when Dean finds you, I want him to like put a blanket over you,
drape a towel over you,
cover up a little.
It did feel like it felt like a time snapshot of time.
Yeah.
A different era of TV that was just a little overtly saucy for no reason.
It went back. I feel like maybe someone knew my career too well, because unfortunately I played a lot of those characters. Yeah, I tended to play the darker, riskier, whatever characters. So I feel like someone was like, "Oh, she'll."
Well, like I said, you look great, but I just felt very, very revealing, and
Thank you. No, I'll tell you like an insider thing. I actually was going through, I'd been diagnosed with MS like a couple months before. And so I was really physically having trouble already. So a lot of that episode, remember Lou?
Yeah.
Lou Bolo.
Yeah, he was amazing. So he was like my ally, and we had to double a good amount. And I usually like to do my own stunts. We had to double a good amount. I had to change my shoes from heels to like shorter shoes. So most of it, the stress for me was figuring out like every time I had to walk or whatever, could I pull it off? So that scene was a little bit relaxing because I had to lie down.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I was like,
I wondered that. I didn't. Wow. I didn't know when you had been diagnosed.
I had no idea about that. That's crazy.
Well, I hadn't told anyone yet.
Right. That's which is so stressful.
So I was trying, maybe. I was like, I can keep it hidden. So, but I said something about like I had back problems, which is what I tried to excuse the stuff as. But I clearly was having trouble moving around.
And you got, because you're fighting the hellhounds. It's a very physical episode.
Yeah.
Well, watching the episode, Rich and I both thought that was one of the coolest parts, like you fighting the hellhounds, which is obviously.
It was amazing. It's great. I love how Supernatural landed on the lensing for the hellhounds. Start there. It's visually, they just look cool. Even leading up to you being involved in the hellhounds, when the hellhounds are chasing the one guy and they get, he gets yanked back and on the other side of the doors. It's just a cool sequence. It's a cool, what do you call it? Not gimmick. It's a cool device they use to create the hellhounds. So let's talk about fighting that, because you're fighting nothing. So you do this great fight against nothing.
I love stunts. And I love doing fighting and stuff like that. And I also, one of the things I relished with playing Meg was her strength, and that she was so tough and fearless. That's another reason I didn't feel vulnerable in that scene where I wasn't fully dressed, was because Meg is the furthest thing from vulnerable. So it was fun to play that character.
Right.
So yeah, I loved getting to do all that. And I thought, like, I know Lou was really instrumental in mapping a lot of that out, that sequence out. And then again, that crew is just so darn good.
Yeah.
So I feel like I don't feel like I can take credit. I'm like, they shot the heck out of that.
Yeah, but you sell it. I mean, yeah, they shot the heck out of it. But acting against nothing is not easy. And creating the idea that you're you're swinging something and it's going through a physical form is not easy, because it's not
right.
You're not swatting the air. You're not waving a wand. Yeah. That's tricky to sell.
There's a shot at the end of the fight where it's kind of from above, and the invisible beast falls down, and like scraps go.
You peel the thing up. Yeah.
Things move as it hits the floor.
Yeah.
Was that effects they added later? Do you remember? Or did they have like a fan that went whoosh, that blew things away?
Honestly, I don't remember a lot, but I think they tended to do things in the moment. They didn't do a whole lot after, but I honestly don't know where the line was exactly.
It was a cool effect. That one was very cool.
And I was like, the thing you're talking about, Rich, is like, that's what I love about acting, is just, I've always loved playing pretend fully.
Totally.
Right.
And it's never something that's been hard for me. For whatever reason, that's how I'm wired. I love fully envisioning whatever is going on.
Yeah.
And feeling that. So.
Yeah, and this is a great show for that, because you really get you're playing pretend the whole time.
Yeah.
So this was your third of 10 episodes. What was it like coming back? Had you developed that sort of familiarity with the crew at this point, and like, hey, there's that person?
No, it was amazing. It was like family. It was like, I think as nervous as it was the first episode, from the very beginning, I felt so comfortable with everyone. And I don't know, everyone goes out of their way to make sure you feel safe and comfortable. And it's why I think it's been so amazing for all of us across these years, is just like, there's some magic with this group of people.
Yeah, no, there's magic with this show. Like, it's almost hard to explain to people who don't know.
But yeah, so I was so excited. I was also, because I love this character and I love the storylines and stuff, I actually loved this episode. Was super exciting because the direction they were taking things was like so fun.
Yeah.
I never knew, like, they were really letting me be part of the game. And it was very interesting. It was a little bit hard for me internally because I had the MS thing going on, and I was like, I don't know how much I'll be able to pull this off. I don't know what I'll be.
Right.
So it was like a really weird thing where you get exactly what you want, and then you're like, can I do it?
Yeah, Rachel, that had to be tough.
That's got to be challenging. But at what point you continue to move through the show with multiple episodes after this? At what point, if you're comfortable answering this, did your health concern become a conversation with the show?
Before the episode where they killed me, I had said, I don't know how much longer. And I let them know that I had EMS and all that. So I think that was one of the reasons why they wrapped it up.
What season is that?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
No, we'll find out.
I should have studied.
No, it's probably best that you don't know, because we no spoilers. We're watching it for the first time. So,
Right.
For us.
Yeah.
Nice. I think because Meg started before me, I think she's the longest running demon. She was the longest living demon character.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that right?
Yeah.
Well, so it was Nikki Aycock's
That's awesome.
before you, right?
Yeah. And she that was the first season.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you know Nikki?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered because you kind of came up around the same time, no?
We did a bunch of conventions together.
Oh, yeah?
And we actually loved doing conventions. We did a bunch of like Australia conventions and things, and New Zealand. And yeah, we spent some really quality time. And they would do panels with the two Megs.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's really cool.
At first, they tried to keep us separated because they were like, "Ooh, maybe there's some female competition." And we're like, we had to convince them otherwise. We're like, "No, we actually love this." We got along really well.
Oh, good. I never met her. Did you do anything in your interpretation of Meg that was based on anything she had done other than what was already written there?
No, I'm lucky because I hadn't seen the show when I auditioned. So but I think what it is the writers write the characters. So to me, the choices were all clear. So when I watched her stuff, I went back and watched everything. I was like, oh, it really synced up.
It does. Yeah.
I think that was more to do with the writing.
Yeah, it does really sync up.
Yeah, it does very well.
In season 6, the relationships are more complex. The Campbells are bad guys. Demons are kissing angels. Meg and the Winchesters are working together. And 1 through 5 was very black and white. So how was it being on Team Winchester this episode? Was that?
It was a dream. It was so awesome. Because even though I played the baddies, I secretly, I love being one of the good guys.
Yeah.
It's that fun kind of good guy, too. It's the Han Solo,
yes.
In between, reluctant. Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, so I loved it.
Yeah, a real outlaw, really.
Yeah.
In a way, yeah. And then this is your first episode working with Mark Shepard.
I think that's right, yeah.
How was that? How was it work with Mark?
I loved it. It was so fun because we both relished the words.
Yeah.
Mark his ability to memorize those huge monologues was just incredible. But both characters kind of lived in the words and loved to talk and loved to hear themselves. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And how was it working with Korn in that sequence? Because you obviously that guy had worked a ton as well.
Yeah.
So
it was super fun. We were hanging out while we were shooting the episode and stuff because I think they had us staying at the same place. So we were hanging a bunch and stuff.
Cool.
He was really nice guys.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
But yeah, it's always good to get to know someone before they stab you. And
yeah.
I keep telling that to Rob. Let me get to know you a little better before you stab me, because I know he wants to.
And you never want me to put on the leather bikini. That always makes you uncomfortable.
Again. Well, we have this question about your hair and makeup, which I'm curious.
Go for it.
We didn't really have, you didn't have a lot of prosthetics or anything going on this, except for maybe some of the wounding from the torture, right?
No, I think it was just paint.
You have a really cute little scar or little blood thing here happening. I noticed.
Right.
It wasn't too gory. It was just
a little CW scar.
Yeah.
What was the trickiest part to, if there was one, to being Meg?
I don't know if there was one.
Yeah, because it looks like a fun role, right?
Yeah.
To me as a viewer, I'm like, she's really eating the scenery here.
Yeah.
But I also know that you're playing an internal, there's other stuff going on, which is what makes the character complex and interesting. So I'm just curious.
It was an odd thing because I know that Meg and I are very different. But there, again, I think the way I guess that if I look at it, the way I interpret her is she's lived such a very, very, very long time, as demons do. And so she doesn't get thrown by the small things in life. To me, it's fun. It's so fun because the guys will be running around oh my gosh, this is horrible. And she's like, I mean, it doesn't faze her because it's when you've lived, that's such a tiny blip.
Right.
And so I think she was more interested in things like humor and whatever, anything to make it enjoyable. I think the Trickster was maybe similar. There's I don't know, you tell me. But when there's so much to see, then you start to try to play with life.
Sure.
Because you're trying to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
Of course, and you're also playing a character that has seen eons of time, not at this point, the boys were 30?
Yeah.
So, not 30 years. You said something earlier I just want to circle back to. You made mention of the fact that you have played a lot of characters that are dark.
Definitely.
Which means you're going into audition rooms for dark characters and beating out everybody in the waiting room.
Well, not only that, I would audition for the lighter characters and they'd be like, we have this other role.
It leads me to ask, what do you
attribute that to?
What do you make of that? What do you think that is?
A couple things. One, and this is maybe a callback to what you were saying, Rob, about, but the industry's changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Back when I was young, like in the heyday of auditioning and stuff, there was a tendency to cast ingenues as not very smart. And I tried it out. Actually, one of the only times I got the ingenue role was by playing it like, I don't understand anything that's going on.
Right.
And really like being confused. And then they're like, but you nailed it. So I think there was a tendency that if there was the calculation happening, they were like, that's suspicious.
She's dark.
I could be wrong, but I think that was maybe one thing.
That makes sense.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think another thing is I had a self-defense thing of I hate BS. So I hate BS in acting. So I tend to, when I'm like have to quick make decisions, I'm not going to go for like the big choice. I'm going to go for like playing it pretty straight. And so it can come off kind of dark and sarcastic. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so
it does.
It's another thing.
Yeah, 100%. That's a great answer.
Well, whatever you're doing, it works really well.
Thank you. Thank you.
It plays perfectly. I mean, you know, the Supernatural is one of those shows that has survived for obvious reasons because of the strength of the show itself and the leads, but also the unsung heroes are everybody else who shows up and just delivers A-level performances, yourself included. And it's just so good. It's so dynamic and interesting. So, but thank you so much for doing this with us and for talking shop.
I can't say it enough, Rachel. It's like, you know, all those things you're saying, the part of this character that like is kind of like Misha, like I don't really understand you humans, and yet the flirtiness and the evilness, but also we kind of love her and all that. You did that so well. So it's a complete person, and it's really, it makes the show, it elevates the show. So thank you.
It does indeed.
Thank you
Rob's not
so
wrong.
much. And 100% back at you. You guys are amazing. I'm so glad you're doing this show too.
Yeah, it's fun.
And you've got such good insight.
Well, that's debatable. But we've got insight. Whether it's good or not, I don't know.
You gave me compliments, so I'm saying.
Yeah, you're scrambling. I get it. Come back and see us another time, pretty please.
Okay.
Thanks,
Take
Rachel.
care.
All right.
Have a great one. It's great.
Thank you, Rachel.
Great to see you.
Hey, this is Jeffrey Dean Morgan. We are going to take a quick break.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/campaign to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
What's up, guys? It's the champ, Sean O'Malley, here to talk to you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to win real money while watching football. Run your game on Prize Picks.
Prize Picks will give you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Just download the Prize Picks app and use code SPOTIFY. That's code SPOTIFY on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play a $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Hey, it's Jeffrey D. Morgan again. Welcome back to the podcast.
I love Rachel Miner.
You know what? I echo your sentiment. I also love Rachel Miner.
And it was so lovely to talk to her and to talk about Meg. And you're right, we got to have her back because there's more. There's more to talk about.
There's more to unwrap with her character. And man, she's just a delightful human being. So for both those reasons, we're going to have her back many times.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now I'd like you to tell me a little bit about the mythology of this episode.
Mythology. Well, Robert.
Yeah.
The knife that Crowley uses to stab the alpha shapeshifter is made out of iridium.
Oh.
Also, interesting tidbit, that knife's name is not Gerald.
Oh. Is that the angel blade? She said angel blade. Is that the angel blade?
I don't know.
There's not the angel blade. The angel blade's the long, thin one that she has out when they're in a different scene.
All right. The angel blade is the triangular sort of comes to a point silver blade that Castiel uses for the rest of the years of the show.
But then the angel killing blade, that's Gerald, that we don't know the name of.
That's a demon killing blade.
Demon killing blade, right. But we don't know the name of that.
Gerald.
Iridium, Richard, you may not know this. It's the second most dense element found on Earth.
The first most dense element found on Earth is Rob Benedict.
The first is osmium, and it is extremely rare.
I think Osmium Chow is one of our buddies who will be in the show going forward.
Yeah.
I believe.
We're looking forward to the first episode that Osmium Chow is in. Iridium is also used in alloys with other platinum group metals to make devices that operate in harsh conditions like deep sea cables, high-end spark plugs, and spacecraft.
Well, here's a tidbit you might not know, but most iridium found its way into Earth's crust via asteroid impacts.
This is fascinating.
Yeah.
And we're talking about this because the knife that Crowley uses to stab the alpha shapeshifter is made of iridium.
Yeah.
My question is, was the knife that Crowley used, like in the story, is it made of iridium? Or was the prop made of iridium?
Yeah, it said the line of dialogue says iridium.
I missed the iridium part.
And yeah, it's not mythology at all. It's fun facts, but that's okay. We're going to segue right into a segment that is aptly named Fun Facts! Fun Facts! Fun Facts! Fun Facts.
The title of this episode is from the 1974 women's prison exploitation movie, Caged Heat.
Nobody but nobody needed to tell Rob Benedict that.
I did not know that, actually. I thought it was some, like, band from the 70s.
Well, what is it? How do you translate that to other languages, Robert?
Wait, before you get to that, Caged Heat, what's the name of the band that's like a jam band? Not Caged Heat, something Heat.
Widespread Panic?
Caged Heat, Caged something, or something Heat.
Cage the Elephant?
No, from like the 70s.
Canned Heat.
There you go. That's what I thought. That's what I was thinking.
I'm going to the country. That's where I'm gonna go.
Yeah, exactly.
Or is that Uncle Joe and the Fish?
I
don't know.
That's Uncle Joe and the Fish, actually. But yeah, Canned Heat. Anyway.
I just wanted to hear your Italian take on the title.
The Italian title of this episode, of course, is Alla ricerca dell'anima perduta, which translates into In Search of the Lost Soul.
Well, that's interesting because in Japan, the translation of the title is actually something akin to The Happy Fun Boat That Kills You.
Now, Richard, you speak Italian, so will you give the correct pronunciation?
Alla ricerca dell'anima perduta.
This episode features the most on-screen supernatural beings of any episode. What?
I guess more characters with supernatural abilities are on screen in this episode compared to any previous episodes.
Or of any episode ever.
Of the show.
I don't know. I'm going to throw the red flag. We need to
all right, well,
instant replay that one. But
let's take a call, see what they say. Caller, you're on.
Oh, wow. The buttons really lighten up.
To accomplish the opening scene where Crowley was interviewing Shapeshifter Crowley, 3 tricks were used. A body double, green screen work, and split screen work. It all makes sense.
Wow.
And it all comes together great.
I would love to have seen the body double and how Mark was with the body double. That's not me.
I'm way more handsome than you.
I wouldn't do that. In the episode, Dean is forced into the kitchen with the 2 ghouls. It was supposed to be a giant Lovecraftian tentacle, but ultimately it proved too expensive.
What the hell is a Lovecraftian tentacle?
It's funny you should ask, Richard. Everyone knows that a Lovecraftian tentacle, so they substituted in the guy who was like, lunchtime or something.
Breakfast, yeah. He's way cheaper than a tentacle.
Back in the 90s, a lot of the ladies would call Richard's hands Lovecraftian tentacles.
Yeah, Lovecraftian. I thought it was like Minecraft. I thought it was a video game reference.
You're so hip to the video games, man. I can't even keep up.
Dude, I'm not hip to anything, but that's as close as I could get because of the having children.
Because of the having children.
Yeah, because of the having of the children and all. Well, that's all we have for today's episode. Mythological free. That's what we're calling episode 610. There's no mythology to be found.
And yet more supernatural beings than any other episode ever.
More supernatural beings, 0 mythology, and 1 very clear, very obvious captain's hat.
and a Lovecraftian tentacle.
And a Lovecraftian tentacle.
Guys, thank you so much for listening and being on this journey with us.
Aye, Robert.
I can't wait for the next one. We'll see you there.
I can't either. I bet it'll be episode 611.
And I'll be wearing a different hat.
Yeah, you will. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and we'll see you next time.
This episode of Supernatural features Jared Padalecki as Sam Winchester, Jensen Ackles as Dean Winchester, and Misha Collins as Castiel.
Guest stars include Rachel Miner, Mark A. Shepard, Mitch Pileggi, Corin Nimick, and Laura Minnell.
Caged Heat was written by Brett Matthews with story by Brett Matthews and Jenny Klein. Directed by Robert Singer.
Editing by Anthony Pinker. Music by Christopher Leonards.
Executive produced by Robert Singer, Sarah Gamble, and Eric Kripke.
This episode originally aired on December 3rd, 2010.
Wow, it's still 14 years ago.
I know.
This episode of Supernatural Then and Now was hosted and executive produced by Richard Spade Jr. and Rob Benedict.
Produced by Stephen Hine, written by Stephen Hine and Haida Holscher.
And edited and associate produced by Trey Booty. What's up, Music provided by Tim Wynn.
The episode was recorded with the help of Sonic Fuel Studios.
This podcast is from Story Mill Media.
Follow the podcast on Instagram and TikTok at SPN Then and Now.
Become a member of the podcast to get early access, chat rooms with other podcast fans, and video interviews at patreon.com/SPN Then and Now.
Question. I had one question. Would you rather I ramble and you cut it, or would you rather I be more precise?
Ramble.
Hey everybody, this is. By
the way, I just now noticed this. You know, the last time we were complimenting a scene of the Hellhounds, how cool it was also directed by Bob Singer. We were kind of going off on how great he had done when they were in the house.
Right. So Bob knows his
Hellhounds, and here he is doing another epic Hellhounds fight.
He knows his Hellhounds. Executive produced by Robert Singer, Sarah Gamble, and Eric Kripke.
We're talking about 66EWERWREWRRWRRWERRTE Caged Heat.
What does that mean?
I don't know. That's what he typed.
Really?
You don't see that on your document?
You sure it wasn't you pressing a key?
Maybe, but the point is it's there.
And let me say this correctly. It's an alpha shapeshifter. I said shapeshifter, but it's a shapeshifter. I do like to ship shapeshifters.
I'm pretty sure it's a soap shofter, but again, my document looks different than yours.
I ship shapeshifters and vampires.
I shave soapy shapeshifters.
Anyway, this alpha shapeshifter.
What if you put a shapeshifter? What if you could make a drink? A shapeshifter was a cocktail, and you served it in kind of a brandy style glass, so you had a snifter of shapeshifter. Would that be a? Sam
confesses he's a stick of monster hunting. He's of monster. If you look at the sticks of monster hunting, that he is one, and it confesses that. Also, Sam confesses.
Yeah, I hope you were listening, Rob. He said something that I was like, man, I hope Rob has the volume up for this one.
Which was what?
Well, it was a piece of sage advice that Dean gave Castiel that I thought, boy, if Robert could maybe jot this down in his dumb notes, maybe tape it to his mirror.
And what was it?
You don't watch porn in a room full of dudes. I mean, like...
Oh, if you had a nickel.
My gosh.
If you had a nickel for how many times?
If I had a nickel, I'd have a stack of nickels.
Yeah, I pulled
and
up
you'd have a stack of rooms full of dudes. You know what's funnier than you being funny is when you are not in the mood to mess around.
Sometimes, it's early.
And I also have to add that none of this is mythological. So I'm not sure why this is under the mythology
Well, it
category.
falls under Steve had a hard job trying to find out mythology in an episode that really doesn't have any.
Exactly. This category should be called Steve Couldn't Find Mythology. mythology.
Story Mill Media.
If I play you something, will you promise not to tell anyone about it?
What is it?
There's a thing in the sky. You've got to get someone down here quick. It's fucked. It's moving. It's buzzing. It's getting closer, I think.
I need to talk to someone senior.
Putting you through now.
Don't put me. It's getting louder. I can feel it. I can feel it inside my head.
Listen to Hovering, the latest fiction horror show on Realm's premier horror channel, Undertow. Hovering is available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Greetings, adventurers. Today we're excited to introduce you to a new story, Dark Dice,
a horror podcast that blurs the line between actual play and audio drama, where the story is determined by the roll of the dice. 6 adventurers embark on a journey into the ruinous domain of the Nameless God. They will never be the same again. One of the players is not what they seem after a doppelganger, a creature that can assume the form and voice of whatever it kills, infiltrates the team. As the players are picked off and replaced one at a time, can they figure out who the monster is before it's too late? Can you? Here's a quick example of what our show sounds like.
The shambler with the jar of liquid inside of him.
Soren Arkwright let loose an arrow that cracked the glass, passing through the spine of the creature. The shambler still managed to maintain its forward momentum, but stumbled as it eagerly tried to bite and swipe at Soren, landing near his feet.
As Jeff Goldblum has now joined our cast, Dark Dice is available however you listen to podcasts.